Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the episode 3 in the Learn to Play Brawler series. And if you remember in the last, or if you watched the last video, I thanked everyone for all the subs, because the last video before that, we had the greatest number of subs of any video I'd ever had. And that record just got broken with the last video. So it's just like epic that everyone's really enjoying these videos on how to learn to basically play a brawler. And as I said at the very start, I'm like no expert, but I'm learning things along the way and just trying to kind of show what I've learned so we can all kind of learn together. But yeah, I just really appreciate it. Like the last video's done really well, heaps of subs, heaps of likes. So it just seems like everyone likes this video series, which is really good because I'm just learning so much along the way as well, so I'm just like totally into it as well, so just thank you so much. So before we get into it, these punks here, who I actually ended up making friends with after all of this, decided to attack me while I was just trying to get my juniper berries. Didn't want to share the zone, and so they actually ended up killing me the first time because stupidly I decided to focus on the tank, but yeah, I came back down to seek my revenge and focused on the healer, which is the person I just killed. But yeah, so just a little fight. I mean, I'm actually not playing very well in this at all, which I will get to shortly. Won't ruin the surprise just yet, but yeah, I'm like basically dodging really badly, and yeah, when I should be dodging, changing weapons, and when I'm changing weapons, I should be dodging. So that's your little hint. But yeah, so this is this fight. Also, with all the transfers that came in last week, was it last week? Well, anyway, with all the transfers that came in, I was actually able, if you did watch my latest video, my last video, I've got a playlist for it, so you can go back and watch it. I rolled a new character on the Utopia server, and was playing with an average of 510 expertise, and because of the transfers, I was able to bring my main character over, which is a higher expertise. I think its average is like 540 expertise, so not super high, but I'm not really one for PvE, so it's kind of always gone up really slowly. I've just kind of relied on Opera, and obviously now lately I've been coming down to get my juniper berries to help out, but so yeah, so I've transferred this character over to Utopia, so it has a slightly higher expertise. Actually made a big difference. I noticed almost straight away that I was actually hitting harder and taking less damage and sort of winning more duels. So yeah, even just that that jump from 510 to 540 makes quite a big difference in terms of your ability to duel and win. So we're in our third week of dueling as a melee class. If you're new, I'm used to playing ranged in every MMO, so this was kind of an opportunity for me to learn how to play melee and just kind of share what I learned along the way. And so I've been kind of thinking about this, and I think like this is what I've learned over these 3 weeks, and also this is probably what I would recommend if I was to start again, or I was to tell someone who was starting from sort of ground zero, learning how to duel. These are the kind of steps I would recommend going through with each week. So with the first week, I would recommend just really not worrying about whether you win the duel or you lose. I would focus on dodging. Now I know that sounds really simple, but what I really mean by that is really just getting your eye in on your opponent and watching for their attacks, so that you can dodge them really effectively, especially their combos. Because if you're able to survive and take less damage, it allows you to be a lot more aggressive. So then in the second week, once you've kind of got your dodging down and it's become a bit more second nature, then I would start to focus more on landing your attacks more effectively. And that's, again, it sounds really simple, but it's actually not. I found that in the first sort of maybe week and a half, I even mentioned this in my previous videos, where I just felt like I was missing a lot of my attacks. A lot of it comes with just being a little bit patient and not kind of rushing your attacks, but just being able to kind of land them. But also, on top of that, also I would say into the second week, focus on your combos. So as a melee Warhammer Great Axe, you know, I want to go for the Wrecking Ball then followed by the shockwave, then followed by heavy attack, right? That's my big kind of damage combo, so I want to try to get that off. So focus on your dodging in the first week, and in the second week, landing those big combos and just basically landing on getting your attacks off. And then in the third week, which is what I'll show you, I would focus on speeding all that up. So like, you can dodge really quickly, you can, and you can get your combos off, but you know, so then in the third week, you want to kind of consolidate that, bring that together, and just kind of speed it up, because by speeding up, you're able to put a lot more pressure on the opponent and be quite aggressive. Just before I show you that, I just sped up the video a little bit to miss out some of the fight with this guy, because he's quite tanky, so it took me a little while to get him down, but in the end, I got my revenge on him, which was nice. But like I said, we made friends in the end, so it was all good. Moral of the story is, learn to share your juniper berries. Yeah, so basically, here's a couple of videos of kind of just showing how I bring everything together in the third week. So, you know, first of all, you want to get your dodging right, and definitely want to be focusing on the enemy to avoid their attacks. Second week, you want to be learning how to get your combos off, and yeah, just like basically being able to hit your opponent, which is, you know, a little bit easier said than done sometimes. And then in the third week, you want to bring those two together and speed it up. So you can see here, I'm staying in quite tight to my opponents. I'm going to show a video after this as well. So I'm staying in really close. I'm doing a good job of dodging their attacks. And I'm also doing a good job of getting my combos off. So just because I've sped things up, it means they have to think quicker too. And so you're just applying that extra bit of pressure and aggression into the fight, which can often tip the advantage in your favor. Right, so while this video plays out, I'll just quickly talk to you about also another change that I made. So when I was playing my range class, I used to play a really low DPI, which is how sensitive your mouse is, and I had it at 800. And the reason I had it quite low is because if you're playing, this is what a lot of FPS players do, if you're wanting to aim and shoot people at a distance, you want to have a low DPI because it allows you to aim more effectively. But this isn't the case for melee. I feel for melee you want to have a high DPI because it allows you to attack your opponents much more quickly. And you can see that really clearly in this video here. I've just slowed it down in slow motion, so you can see that I'm facing away from the opponent and I'm able to spin myself around in midair and then get that stun off. And that's really, really important to be able to do. I mean, firstly, you can see I've taken basically half his health away from just being able to pull off that combo, which wouldn't have happened if I wasn't able to do that. Because I was with a lower DPI, I was missing a lot of those attacks and not being able to get them off. So I was actually missing out on opportunities to stun or damage my opponents. So I found since I've increased the DPI, it's really, really, really helps. But the other big change I made, which was absolutely game-changing for me, was changing my dodge keybind. So I'd long felt like sometimes I would see my opponent going for the attack, and at the very earliest moment I would press my dodge keybind. It used to be on the side of my mouse, and I would miss. I would still get hit by the stun, and I remember complaining to my friends occasionally, saying, "Man, I swear I pressed that button before they hit me, but you know, it still hit me." And so I was starting to think maybe my reaction times are just slow or whatever. But when I was dueling with someone, I just thought, hey, I might just change the keybind to see how it works. So I changed it from the side of the mouse button to the actual mouse wheel, but just pressing down on the mouse wheel. It seemed like its response time was quicker, and it was, I could just tell straight away, all of a sudden these attacks that this person was able to get off of me no longer could. It was absolutely game-changing. Also absolutely painful, because as I alluded at the start of this video where I said I kept changing weapons when I wanted to dodge and kept dodging when I wanted to change my weapons, because those were the two keybinds that I changed around. And so it took about 3 or 4 days for me to get that muscle memory in and get used to being able to press the dodge button when I needed to. And it slowly got better, but even now, in really stressful moments, I go to press that dodge and change my weapon. So it's just taking a little while to kind of get that muscle memory in, but in the end, absolutely worth it. You can see from these duel videos that I'm showing just how much better my dodging is previous videos, and how I'm avoiding all their damage, and I'm able to put my damage back onto them so much more effectively because I can see their attack coming and I can dodge it and I don't get hit. And you can also see that's even true for the range as well. So one of my big problems before when I was playing range was that I would get I would dodge their attacks when they shot at me, but I'd still get hit. Now that's not a problem. When they shoot at me, I can see they're going to shoot at me. I dodge and I don't get hit. It's just improved my game more than anything else that I've done. And I can even tell in my dueling win ratios, the amount of duels that I'm winning now has just gone up so much just because of that little change. And another great thing about all these changes that I've made this week is it's really affecting, you know, how well I'm playing, not just in duels, but also in outpost rush and in the open world. Just, you know, I mean, obviously if you're able to dodge attacks, it's a lot better. So, being able to dodge a lot better because of the changes I've made this week, being able to attack a lot better because of the changes I've made this week. In the first week, learning how to dodge effectively. In the second week, learning how to get those combos off. And then this week, kind of consolidating these two together, as I discussed, to be a lot more effective. Now I'm starting to, when I'm in Outpost Rush, for example, I'm not just able to read one opponent, but I'm able to read like what multiple opponents are going to do. And so I've noticed these instances where I'm not quite there yet, but I'm basically kiting, like, you know, like you can see here, I'm kiting 6 people at this point in time, and I'm not dying. In fact, in this video, I'd run out of food and potions. The only potions I had was the orange potions that kind of give you a little bit of health recovery, but not a big boost in health. So I'm actually doing this without any potions, pretty much. And I'm able to survive against these 4 people. Oh, I don't know how many there is now. But, and get some of them quite close to being killed. Now, obviously, not quite there yet, but I think that if my gear score was higher, because remember, I've only got an average expertise of 540. So if my expertise was a lot higher, I think those cases where I almost killed someone would actually be cases where I did kill someone. And the fact that I'm able to kite out kind of 4 or 5 people is just really, really encouraging in the 3rd week, right? So this is only going to get better, hopefully, as like I get, as I improve. So yeah, it's just really, really helped with Outpost Rush, and my, yeah, and that's the whole, that was the sort of first reason that I got into it, was that I wanted to be able to not just duel, but the reason I got into this was because I want to 1vx, right? I want to be able to do Outpost Rush and go to the open world and like clap 5 people at once, whatever, you know, like just to have really, really good fights. So this is the first week where I've sort of started to feel like, hey, this is kind of not just coming together in terms of my dueling, but also just my ability to take on multiple opponents and maybe get a really decent 1vx in. Not there yet, but hopefully soon I'll have like some epic videos to show of me, like, you know, fighting multiple people. Don't want to be all positive news though. I'm still getting clapped by a lot of people. Like, I'm still losing. To be honest though, I'm kind of grateful for that. Here's a good example against this guy. He absolutely, VGIG is one of the weapon setups I find the hardest, and yeah, and he's also a very good player. So I fought this guy about, I don't know, about 10 times. But in the end, in this next video, you'll see I actually end up beating him. And so, although he beat me, you know, way more times than I beat him, I appreciate it more when I'm actually fighting against someone that is better than me, because that's where I learn the most. So, I think it's really, really good actually losing, and I'm getting a really good, healthy kind of mindset around it now, where, you know, this is where you can actually fight someone that's better than you, and you can actually learn how to counter them and then improve yourself as a player, which is, you know, what I did here. So, and that's still the best buzz I get. Like, I fought this guy, probably, I can't remember exactly, but, you know, several times where he beat me every time, and then I finally managed to kill him. So it's like a pretty good feeling to know, like, you actually overcame that obstacle and figured it out. It also makes you humble, which is a good thing, because the last thing you want is someone with, like, a big ego. I just can't stand that. It's also just to bear in mind when you're feeling a bit like it's pretty hard when you lose to someone 10 times in a row or 20 times in a row, even though you will be learning and picking stuff up, you know, it can be a bit demoralizing. But it's important to bear in mind that even if you're losing, you're still learning. And it might not, you know, you're often when you're fighting duelers, they could be kicking your ass. So as an example, I was fighting, before I came into this outpost rush and fought this person, I was fighting a sword and spear person, and I'd lost to him like 20 times in a row. And so, you know, feeling a bit demoralized, I came to this outpost rush, and then I encountered this guy, who's, you know, he's a good fighter. Now, if I hadn't of fought that person, I obviously had learned quite a lot during that little session of losing, and I picked up enough tips and tricks to finally be able to beat this guy. So, you know, if you're feeling a bit demoralized with dueling, just stick at it. You can see the benefits start to show. I mean, it's been 3 weeks, and I feel like I've just made really, really big improvements. I'm just really happy with where I am. Still a long way to go. By no means am I like some expert or pro dueler at all. So, still got a long way to go. But, man, the rewards you get from it is just so epic. And I'm just really, really enjoying the process. It seems like everyone else is too. So, yeah, anyway, with that, I'll just let you see the rest of this video, and thanks heaps for all the subscriptions. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thanks for all the comments and the likes and all that. Yeah, so I'll see you next week. Bye.